Hello everyone, welcome to Bite Size Bunny. My name's Tony, and today we're going to be talking about Psychonauts 2. Let's get to it. Full disclaimer, I never really got around to playing the first Psychonauts from 2005, and going into Psychonauts 2, I didn't really watch any trailers or do any reading up on it beforehand. I kind of just went into this one blind. So if you're like me and you're kind of wondering what the hell is a Psychonaut and what is this game, Psychonauts 2 is a third-person platformer from Double Fine Studios, and it was published by Xbox Game Studios. You can find it on Xbox Game Pass, and you can pick it up on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. In Psychonauts 2, you play as this 10-year-old kid named Raz, who is officially an intern at the Psychonauts headquarters. Psychonauts are these agents who have psychic abilities that allow them to enter people's brains to get important information that's been locked away in their mind. Throughout the game, you acquire various powers and abilities as you are trying to investigate and stop the rise of Maligula, an evil entity that has a loyal group of followers that are trying to bring her back from the dead. And on top of that, these Psychonauts suspect that there might be a mole hidden inside Psychonaut headquarters, working on the inside to help with the revival of Maligula. I thoroughly enjoyed this game. I almost instantly fell in love with the world and the characters that were set up. From a design standpoint alone, just about every environment I stepped foot in felt unique and full of character. I found myself constantly excited to see what the next brain level had in store for me. Whether it be a level like Strike City where you'll be trying to balance yourself on a giant bowling ball as you navigate your way through rooftops that are covered in a bright green sludge, or even a mission later in the game where you enter someone's brain and you're trying to help them regain control of their mind as you fight off panic attacks when they're experiencing a sensory overload. Every brain you enter throughout the game feels like its own self-contained mini-story, and while some are definitely better than others, I wouldn't say there's a single bad level in the bunch. As for the gameplay mechanics, I wouldn't say there's anything super mind-blowing in that regard. It plays and feels like your average, well-made 3D platformer. But what makes Psychonauts 2 stand out from the bunch is the collection of powers you have at your disposal that you can use to eliminate bad guys, solve puzzles, and find hidden rooms. Each psychic power you obtain feels like it serves a purpose in the grand scheme of things, and I never found any psychic abilities feeling too similar to something I had obtained earlier in the game. On top of the incredible level design and the solid gameplay, Psychonauts 2 treats you to a rather engaging story as well. Within the first hour of the campaign, the story had its claws hooked into me, and I was excited to see where things would go. Just about every character you meet along the way feels essential to the game's narrative, and I loved every second I got to spend watching Raz interact with the other Psychonauts and getting to learn their backstories as well. I'm even pleased to say the story took some twists and turns I really wasn't expecting. I think I really only had a couple of gripes with this game. The first one being the pacing could have used a bit of work. It's not bad, but there were definitely a few sections in my playthrough where there'd be all this build-up and momentum in the story, and it sometimes feels like the game gets sidetracked by itself. I also felt like the loading screens were just long enough that would be a little annoying at times, especially in the last hour or two when they get a bit excessive. There was an instance where there was a cutscene with a reveal, followed by a loading screen, followed by another cutscene, followed by another loading screen, followed by one more cutscene, which then eventually leads into gameplay. And thankfully, it's not like that throughout the entire game, but it was definitely a bit jarring, especially in that final act. And then on top of that, while the levels in this game are incredibly well done, and I loved getting to take my time exploring each brain that I visited, I did start to notice that most of the levels follow the same three-step formula. Overall, Psychonauts 2 was one of the biggest pleasant surprises of the year for me. I loved the characters and the world Double Fine Studios brought to life in this game, and they delivered an engaging story to go along with it. The pacing's not perfect and the gameplay can become a bit repetitive, but if you're looking for a new platformer to play, I highly recommend this one. Psychonauts 2 gets an 8 out of 10. Thank you guys for watching, I hope you have a great day, and see ya!